All of Dementis' henchmen that I've covered so far have been classic Mad Max antagonists, the sort of crazed and violent characters you expect to see born from the wasteland. However, in the background of the Furiosa film, there's a surprisingly tragic dynamic with two of them, those being Mr. Harley and Mr. Davidson. Named after their motorbikes, much like Mr. Norton, the duo have a constant presence as part of the biker horde, though one far less malicious than the others. It's unclear what their relation is, whether it's friends, a couple, or family, but a couple seems like a likely theory, especially since Ian Roberts, the actor for Mr. Harley, was the first rugby footballer in the world to come out to the public as gay, and one of the first Australian athletes to come out. I feel like the idea helps add to why Mr. Harley seems like one of the few people in the wasteland still capable of compassion of some kind. Mr. Harley is relatively cheerful during most of the scenes early on. He looks happy when Dementis comes up with the idea to paint the Mortiflyers to look like war boys. I find it funny when Dementis is introducing his biker horde to Immortan Joe, and Mr. Harley is politely saying, "G'day, mate," and Mr. Davidson is shyly waving with his arm over Mr. Harley's shoulder. In a few scenes, Mr. Davidson is wearing part of a soccer ball as a helmet, and I'm curious if that means both him and Mr. Harley used to be athletes, based on what I said earlier about Ian Roberts. Since they are still part of the biker horde and do fight during Dementis' battles, I wouldn't say either of them are completely blameless. They still have likely murdered a lot of people in the wasteland, and both of them are cheering during the 5-bike Teddy. Mr. Davidson is even waving his gun around and laughing at the carnage in front of him. Despite their older age, Dementis still entrusts them with important missions, like the Trojan Horse, showing that they are still capable of violence. Early versions of them had far more ferocious appearances, and they were likely similar to the early versions of Mr. Norton, before his gender was changed. Still, while he's usually only in the background, Mr. Harley is the only member of the biker horde, aside from the History Man, that seems to care for Furiosa on any level. We don't see Mr. Davidson interact with her as much. When she's kicking the Rue-Belly trying to give directions, he doesn't rush towards her like the others yelling, but rather seems to awkwardly move forward, unsure of himself. When Furiosa and Mary Jabasa are escaping near the beginning, someone is yelling at Mr. Harley to shoot at them, and Fang has snatched the gun out of his hands to take the shot. It shows that Mr. Harley has some morals in the wasteland, or at least enough not to shoot a mother and daughter escaping. Mr. Harley is the only member of the biker horde that looks incredibly uncomfortable when Furiosa is traded to Immortan Joe, even shaking his head angrily while staring at Dementis. Mr. Davidson also looks upset, and when they leave the Citadel he has his arm on Mr. Harley to comfort him. The most prominent moment for these two characters is when Furiosa and Praetorian Jack are captured by Dementis, who wants to have the dogs chase Jack while Furiosa is hung up from the truck by her arm. Just for an extra bit of cruelty, he says to use the arm that was just mangled in the crash. When Mr. Harley hesitates, he gets up in his face and asks if he's lost his touch. Maybe there was a point where Mr. Harley was more cruel, but it doesn't seem like this was ever something he was comfortable doing, as he looks visibly upset. Another reason to believe that Mr. Harley and Mr. Davidson were a couple is that he seems extremely bothered by what happens to Furiosa and Praetorian Jack after just seeing their possible affection for each other, and Dementis' anger at it. I think it's possible he even recognizes Furiosa from many years ago. In the next shot of when everyone is distracted, we see him slowly moving to the back, and many theorize that he helps Furiosa escape in the chaos by cutting her arm off. The biggest evidence is that after the time lapse, when Dementis is going to check, Mr. Harley is putting a big machete away, and he was the closest to where she was chained up. When we last see these two after the 40-day Wasteland War, Mr. Harley is holding a presumably dead Mr. Davidson in his arms. It appears that he and the History Man have surrendered, having no reason left to fight, no further loyalty to Dementis. While Furiosa is focused on getting revenge on Dementis, I also feel like she knows that these two were the only ones that were ever concerned about her, which is why she lets them go. As she drives by them, Mr. Harley seems to have a slight grin on his face as he chuckles while also mourning Mr. Davidson, with clear knowledge of what her goal is and what's to come of Dementis. The last video will be on the Octoboss, as I felt like he deserved to be saved for last.